Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Bommer number 2100-600. This is a 3" by 3" screen door spring hinge, full surface, steel-based adjustable tension, button tip, primed for painting hinge. This is a very typical and common sort of single-acting spring hinge that you're going to see on wooden storm doors, wooden screen doors is where you'll see this. Certainly typical to have these installed in pairs. Sometimes a pair and a half is not uncommon as well. Okay, this is what they call a 3" by 3". The leaf height is going to be 3" tall, which is important to know, I suppose, at least to give you an idea of what this is in terms of perhaps comparing it to something that you're matching. The width they have at 3" as well. There is a link below this video to a document called Template, and that's going to show everything important dimensionally about the hinge. So by all means, please review that, and it will help you determine especially locations of screw holes. Speaking of the screw holes, screws are included. Because this is prime coat, you know, they won't necessarily be prime screws, but since it's prime coat, they're expecting that you'll be painting the hinge. This sort of going to be used in those residential sorts of applications where you're going to have a wooden storm door. It is completely reversible. This can be used on left-hand or right-hand doors, likely left-hand reverse or right-hand reverse doors. You can certainly turn it upside down. There wouldn't be any problem with that. The use of this item is based on installing it with the tension collar pointed towards the top. And generally when you get this hinge shipped to you, the tension will be set, which is evidenced, well by that of course. That tension pin is set. I've removed it from this hinge for purposes of the video. Installation, when I've installed these, if I'm doing a new installation, replacement is obviously very simple. A new installation would involve getting the door into place, shimming it on all, well, at least on 3 sides, bottom and the 2 jamb sides, making sure that the door is properly positioned, getting the hinge placed where I need it to be. There is 0 offset in that hinge. It's full surface. If there's any offset, it's all but imperceptible. So keep that in mind, that your door will likely be quite flush to the face of the door, the face of the frame, with no inset. Mark my screw holes. My location is what I would do. Center punch them, pre-drill my holes, get my hinges attached, test for proper operation, and make any sort of adjustment that might be necessary. Okay. Now, once the door is actually physically hanging in the opening, what you're going to go about and do at that point is get the tension set. And the tension is going to be set by the included tension rod, which is always included. Inserting that into the tension collar when the tension collar is pointed towards the top of the door, rotating it clockwise. Okay, and as you rotate that clockwise, about 3 holes maximum is what's going to be intended for tension. You can set that tension pin down into one of the holes and carefully release the tension. Now you've got tension set on that. You're in good shape. It's very common that these are used in pairs. Sometimes you'll have 3 on a door. I'm a fan of all spring hinges. It's usually never, it's typically not required, but I like 3 spring hinges, not for the obvious reason, but a spring hinge is not, in my opinion, the most elegant way to close a door. However, it's very appropriate. It's the only application or possible solution to a lot of needs to close a door. When you have additional spring hinges on the door rather than less spring hinges, you can share that workload evenly along those additional springs. You'll have more stored energy in the spring so that you don't have to set the tension so high just to get the door moving from a 90-degree or whatever angle so that it gets all the way closed. You can set that tension a little bit lower because you've got more torque in those springs and get the door to close a little bit slower and less potential for slamming. I liken it to a tugboat. They don't go very fast, but they can pull a lot of weight, and that's what the additional spring hinges will do on a door. This hinge The last thing I'd like to point out to you, you may have some difficulty seeing it, but the Bommer logo, and right above it it says Made in USA. That's a fact that Bommer is quite proud of, as am I to represent them. If you have any questions on the Bommer number 2100-600, and -600 means prime coat, by the way. This is available in all of the common finishes: brass, chrome, bronze, oil rubbed, black japanned, zinc, etc. Pretty much any finish that you would actually need, Bommer can do for you. Any questions on this or any other Bommer product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.